go.
Yo, what's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Next Level Podcast. And today we're going to be talking about something that is probably going to help out a lot of people because it's been a long journey for us and we have learned a lot. And what we're going to be talking about is the biggest things that we've learned as a company.
All right. Wow, that's a big one.
Yeah,
So-
many things.
So you want the biggest things that we've learned since the beginning?
Yes. So how many big things would you say there are? Or should we just find out as we go?
Yeah, let's just I can't come up with an exact figure, but I can tell you in business, we talk about this all the time. In real estate, the number one constant is
Change.
change.
Change. That's right.
Yeah, because the market's constantly moving. The industry is evolving. The way we do business is changing for the better. So you got to make those small tweaks. And so I would say you learn how to be adaptable really fast and problem solving. Because I think we talked about this last time. One of the big things that we did is we've learned as we've gone down the road. And so there's a lot of gurus out there that are telling everybody, how to get into the investing space. Everybody loves to talk about real estate. Real estate's super sexy. But the pitfalls, they typically teach you the basics. And then once you get past the basics, where do we go from there? And the problem is a lot of people, they've never been there before. They stop at the basic info.
Right.
And so when you do push the envelope like we have and growing, now we're in territory no man's gone before.
Yep, that's true. And you got to learn everything on your own.
We've landed on the moon.
Yep. No one's ever been here before. We're the first one. So let's find out what we need to work on.
Yeah, and then there's things like tactical things or more day-to-day transactional things. We learned that you got to build a team.
A team in what sense? Like
That's huge.
Well,
title company or what?
yeah, exactly. So, maybe expand on the title company. How important is a title company?
Yeah.
Sounds boring, right?
Yeah, it sounds boring, and I'll tell you what, that's the biggest thing we talked about. What we learned most as a company, in my opinion, it's how important the title company plays a super important role in deals getting done. That'll make or break your deal.
Yep.
And you think it's like, okay, yeah, we'll find a title company. That's the least of our worries. No, my friend, that's probably the highest, the most of your worries is the title company, because we've learned the hard way that especially on these national deals that we do, the title companies, we've lost deals. We've lost a lot of money with title companies not performing the way we'd like them to. And so we've learned that finding a title company that you can stick with, or at least one that's highly, highly recommended, that knows how to do some of these creative deals that we're doing is so important.
Oh, yeah.
So before we dive into the title company, let's break apart what a whole transaction is consisted of.
Okay.
It's consisted of the homeowner. It's consisted of the property being sold. It's consisted of, us as a department as a whole. It's consisted as a transaction coordinator and a title company. And I think that's all we need.
And the buyer.
And the buyer. So those are the things that consist in an entire transaction. And all of those are gears that move in order to get to the the end.
Those are the chefs in the kitchen.
Those are the chefs in the kitchen. Yeah. And we all got to make sure that we're all on the same page. If we're not all on the same page and we don't all perform the way we should, a meal's going to go out nasty, burnt, bad. It's going to be a setback because somebody's going to receive that plate, still going on the metaphor of the cooks in the kitchen.
Yeah.
Someone's going to receive that plate and be like, what is this, man?
Chef Ramsay.
So you got to send it back. You got to do it again. We're wasting more. We're wasting more more ingredients, more money, and then
Yeah.
So it's the same thing.
Unhappy customers.
You got to make sure the homeowner is on the same page and knows what's going on, and you're building that rapport, and you have somebody checking on them once a week at least.
Yeah.
Right? So,
Yeah. So you have your transaction coordinator, which when somebody's starting out, they don't have that. They don't have somebody doing your paperwork. We have a transaction coordinator because we're doing multiple deals at a time. and we can't keep tabs on where we're at in the period of the transaction because we're doing multiple deals at a time.
Right.
When you're starting out, nobody tells you about a transaction coordinator because they're just doing one deal.
That's it. Yeah.
Get that deal done, then the squirrel's chasing the nut for another one, and then they get that deal done. So transaction coordinator
Important.
is is like a middleman. They keep everything together. They're like that line cook that's like telling everybody, hey, I need this, I need that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No, yeah, you're absolutely right.
And the customer is the buyer.
Customer's
the customer's the seller.
Yeah.
They're sitting there waiting for their food.
Mm-hmm.
Which
Yeah.
is their money for the deal.
Yeah, they're waiting for their money.
The deal to close. Yeah.
So you're
Yeah.
all those ingredients that you're putting in is maybe repairs. We're putting in all this time and energy. That's a lot of
Photos, videos.
Yeah, we're paying for all
inspection
that.
reports.
so all the ingredients are going in.
Mhm.
Yeah.
The longer we
Cleaning.
wait, the more ingredients are going in, more time, resources.
And if you don't have those ingredients ready, if the manager didn't go out to buy those ingredients or restock, you're in trouble, man, because if you need a certain ingredient for that plane, you don't have that, everything's put on pause.
Yep.
And you
Right.
got to go get that ingredient, come back, and then by the time you come back, you got to throw away what you already had because it's already gone to waste, and you got to restart again. And what can we apply to that? Like an inspection report, maybe some photos,
Access.
maybe some video. Dude, that is huge, man.
Access, man.
Access to the freaking property, man. Like
Yeah.
if you can't access the property, you're
Yeah.
gonna have a hard time, my friend. You're looking for a sight unseen offer, and those work, right? But you're not gonna make the most amount of money possible.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely. So you learn that along the. So you get a deal. You make a deal with the homeowner, the seller. You have tenants in there, and you have people that want to buy that property from you.
Yeah.
In traditional real estate, you even have that problem. And you go to you want to show the property, so you got to make arrangements. If you can't get inside, guess what? The buyer's like, "What are you hiding from me?
Exactly.
Yeah.
How come I can't see what's inside there? How do you expect me to give you hundreds of thousands of dollars
Right.
and I can't see what I'm buying?"
That just spells shady all over, man. You
Yeah.
don't want that.
Yeah.
You don't want that.
So you learn, this is stuff, exactly. You learn access is important. You learn the title company is important.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't learn sometimes until you get there. You're like, okay, I got the property under contract. I got the inspection. Oh, wait,
Let me share a story.
how do we line this up?
True story. In the very beginning, this happened.
Okay.
We were so pumped, man. I'm answering phone calls. They're calling me on the weekend. My girlfriend's like, man, what the hell? And I'm like, shh, this is going to pay for your freaking purse or whatever, okay? Keep it down. Nah, just kidding. I didn't say that. But
Yeah, I'm going to send her this.
nah,
Yeah,
don't send her this.
she's
Anyways,
watching.
back to the story. I'm answering all these phone calls and I'm lining up all these walkthroughs. Yeah, dude, hell yeah, no, yeah, we'll do it. And then I come back on Monday and I check the notes to get the code, the lockbox code.
Mm-hmm.
There's no lockbox in the property. There's no way to access the property.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, oh, crap.
Who
I got-
forgot?
yeah.
Who dropped the ball?
Yeah, so now we got all these people, right, who are ready. I've had these conversations with. They're ready to go look at the property. I made logical sense, and they were a part of it. But now there's no access to the property. So now these guys are like, hey, so when are we going? When are we going in? Oh, we're figuring that out. We're figuring that out. Wait, what do you mean we're figuring that out? I thought you already had that.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have. How you going to be selling a house and not have access to the property, dude? Is this your first time doing this?
Right.
No, I've been doing this. Dude, this is your first time doing this, huh? I can tell you've never done this before.
Yeah.
And boom, you lost it.
Mm-hmm.
You lost it. You lost all leverage now. Now you look dumb. Now you look unprofessional.
Yeah.
You're done.
Right.
Yeah, credibility's out the door. But it's interesting. Run down how we do that. I mean, that's something for somebody who's learning for the first time or trying to figure it out. Maybe they've done a couple deals, but we do it because you could say, well, how come you just don't go run down and put a lockbox?
Because it's
It's just a couple miles away.
right. It's a couple miles away, but
Is it?
no. If it is a couple miles away, then yeah, just get it done. But when you're doing national stuff,
Okay, that's
and
what I'm
you're
saying.
hundreds of miles away, how you gonna get that done? Do you need to call a locksmith? Try to set that up. All of their schedules are full, man. You'd be surprised. You think the locksmiths don't do much work? They do work every single day. And then if you don't have that, you got to call a real estate agent. But good luck doing that. They don't want to talk to you. If they're not a part of this transaction, and I get it, but if they're not a part of that transaction, why are they going to put their time into it?
Right. So on the national stuff, the way we overcame that, because that was a problem for us
Yeah.
at one point. We kind of try to hit two birds with one stone. So we have professional photography is something we've learned that's huge, and that's huge because
Game changer.
yeah, because I mean that's somebody's first glance at what you have to prepare on a dish. So it's like a menu. So if that picture is not pretty, nobody's gonna order. So what we learned is that the professional photographer, you can have them stop by, and hopefully, which usually they do, very seldom do they not, but they're willing to put a lockbox on the property, and that's if it's vacant. If it's not vacant, we got to make sure we build a really good relationship with the homeowner, be very transparent, very thorough on times, make sure we're on point, because if not, that's another chef in the kitchen that your customer that could get upset, you know. So we gotta make sure we do a good job, and I think we have from experience that communication with especially the homeowner, obviously everybody involved, but especially the homeowner, that's a make or break. So vacant properties are beautiful. We're licking our chops. We're like, okay, we'll get this done, you know, and we'll get it done either way. Though when a property's occupied, there's more that goes into it. There's another person we have to very thoroughly communicate to.
Yeah, because think about it. These individuals never seen us before. We've never shaken their hand.
No.
And then we're letting other strangers into their house. I think it's pretty wild. Like,
It is pretty wild, man. We're in the Wild Wild West.
I mean, would you let somebody, hey, yeah, just come on in, check it out?
Yeah, and I think that's so huge on the front end, like on the acquisition side. Like we send credibility packets, we send videos, seller reviews. If they want to hop on a Zoom call, we've never done that before, but we put that out there if they want to. If there's some sort of uncomfortability, I mean, they can look at our Google reviews. Our Google reviews are great. So we try to build as much credibility, especially on the national stuff, that because we don't get belly to belly all the time. You know, sometimes our voice is our only weapon. Not weapon, probably the wrong word, but our only leverage.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so, I mean, we've kind of made that part of the process. And so we know before we send a deal out, before we market it, before we call buyers, we make sure we have access, right?
Yes, very important.
And then
Access.
once that is given, like through a photographer can put the lockbox on, but we send, like Amazon is our friend because
Oh yeah, we love Amazon. Yeah,
we send
we send it directly to the homeowners.
Yeah, we send it to the
Homeowners, and the lockboxes we choose are so easy. And I've done it before, where I call them and we actually FaceTime or video call, and I show them how to actually, change the locks and to set the code up
There you go.
and everything. And so we talked about the chefs in the kitchen, right? It's like about 6 or something, with everything that needs in order for a deal to move forward.
Yeah.
You need transaction coordinator, buyer, seller, property, us, and the title company. But now the process of it, there's phases, okay? And this is what we learned and we started doing to make sure that we always hit our points every single time. Phase 1 is learning everything we can about the property, learning about who the homeowner is. Setting the expectations are very necessary. You got to set the expectations. There needs to be a lockbox set on the property. If you live in it, we still need to send one. Not just because, it's probably not because we're going to be walking around in the property, but we need a lockbox there. So at the end of the transaction, when they're about to leave the property and they got everything out, boom, they drop the key in the lockbox, close it up, and it's ready.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. So
And
so that's just one, little thing in the transaction. But you started out going back to like setting expectations, timelines, letting them know this is what's going to go on, and we're going to walk you through every step because they have a ton of questions.
Yeah.
I mean, people sell their houses how many times in their lifetime?
What was the stat? Like every 7 years, if that?
Something like that, I think.
Yeah, but I mean, somebody might actually sell their house maybe 3 or 4 times in a lifetime.
If that, yeah. Some people.
Yeah,
Same house whole life.
Yep, exactly. So we do a real good job at communicating, laying this out. So now we have this whole roadmap that we have all these checkpoints. We have all these triggers that say, okay, we're here, we're here, we're here, we're here, we're here. We're like, we've taken that order, which is the seller has given us we have that contract.
Yeah.
Acquisitions guy is basically the front of the house.
Yeah.
Okay, and then they've got that order. Now they got to get it back to the kitchen.
So that's phase 1. Now we're moving to phase 2. And phase 2 is taking a look at what the order is, so you know what it is that you're cooking, and gathering the right ingredients. And translated to our realm, what we do with that metaphor is now we meet with the acquisition department. We learn about the property. And then we make sure of those things. Okay, before this can go live, because that's what we do. We prepare it to go live. Before it goes live, do we have a mailbox sent already? Do we need to send one? Have they? What else do we need to take care of? Like when
we make sure we have photos so we can
Photos.
market the property.
right? Do we have the photos?
What do we have the background? Any condition reports about the house?
And after we receive the
Inspections.
photos, we go back with the acquisitions to take a look at those
yeah,
photos.
we verify.
That the
Yes.
property's in the conditions that they were told through the phone.
So we get photos. The homeowner, a lot of times, because a lot of these acquisitions are verbal. So what we've learned to do is, if the seller can help us get photos themselves of the property, we do that first, and then we double check the condition. Okay, this is what they told us it was on the phone. And after that's confirmed, then we start strategizing just to make sure it's a good use of our time, professional photos, that whole nine.
Yeah, we verify.
Lock boxes. yeah.
Typically, me or Bailey will sit down. Felix is starting to do it. Okay, this is what we thought it was.
Is this still a good
It's worth
deal?
our time.
Yeah, is it still worth our time? Then
And
once
money.
once we're done with that,
Right.
then we put it up for sale on whatever.
Then we start
platform.
moving forward.
Then we start the process of actually looking for a buyer.
Yeah, we start the process of looking for a buyer, doing all the ordering lock boxes, ordering video, ordering.
Yeah, once we've made
photos.
sure that all of those things on the list are check marked and they're gonna happen and they're on their way, now we can actually start.
And you're still not certain. That's the scary part. I mean,
Yeah.
you're putting money in, and it's still a risk.
Yeah.
It's,
There's been times when sellers, they send us photos, and unfortunately they're not always honest.
Yeah.
Like we've had times where, and very few, but there's times when sellers send us photos, and then our photographer stops by, and they're like, hey, I can't even get in there, man. The smell is so bad.
Yeah,
Or it
that's
looks
true.
it looks way different than the way you described. You told me it wasn't much.
yeah,
that
that's
needs to be
interesting. You said that because the one thing you can't tell from photos
Just-
or video
done.
is a scent.
Yeah.
And we've had that happen way too many times.
Yeah.
Yeah. What are some things? I mean,
We had a cleaning lady stop by. Remember, she was telling us, "No, man, I gotta put a hazmat on if
Yeah.
I'm gonna go in there." I was like,
yeah.
"That bad? Holy crap!"
Yeah.
and literally crap. They leave
yeah,
it in the
yeah.
toilet.
Oh yeah, no, it was
Yeah.
bad, man.
But
Yeah.
animals.
Now we got to get the cleaning people in there to
Yeah.
get it all cleaned up, and now we can take photos to actually market it correctly.
Yeah.
It's part of business, baby. But like, you got to be ready for that stuff.
So our part of the business that we do, the wholesale part, a lot of people in the industry, they think, oh well, you're just a middle person. But think about all the things we do to prepare that property to get sold.
A lot.
But we, that sets us apart.
Yeah.
A lot of guys, they say, oh, you don't need any money to get into this business. You could do this. All you need to do is get a contract. And
Yeah.
But what we've done is we've taken it a step further. That's what makes us different, because we make sure that we're making it easy for that seller.
Yeah.
So if there's something we need to take care of, that's on our dime.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we take care of.
And a lot of these sellers can't sell on the traditional way for one reason or the other.
Yeah.
Like if it's not for us, I tell our acquisitions team, like, hey, this is a situation. Is this something we can do? And in my head, I truly 100%, 110% believe. I tell them, dude, if the numbers work, lock it up, because there's nobody better who can get it done for. There's nobody better.
Because real estate agents, their whole thing is like, well, I'm not getting paid to the end. I'm not putting a dime in. This is your property.
Mm-hmm.
You own the property. We look at it and we're like, okay, you own the property, but give us the keys and we're going to take care of it like it's our own.
Yeah.
And it's starting to sound more often, but I think that's just because of the line of work we're in. I think the statistics might be skewed because the people that would encounter this will come to us. But I have been noticing that a lot lately. Homeowners, when they call, when we end up going back or I look through the notes or something, they did have it listed on the MLS, but they felt as if the real estate agent just kind of put it up and then is not doing anything.
Oh, yeah.
Like it's just sitting there, and the real estate agent's, it's kind of waiting there, like not actively putting it, I don't know, on their social media or trying to get out there or making phone calls like, hey, I got this property, man. Would you be interested? Or like, hey, remember when you were looking for this house? Well, I got one. I'm noticing a lot more of that. But again, I think that's a little statistically skewed because the people who go through that will come to us. And
yeah, and I think you're going to see that a lot more going forward in 2024.
What's that?
Where a lot of people that tried the market and now they couldn't do anything. Pricing or whatever, but the agent wasn't able to move it. But see, what we do differently, I'm an agent as well.
Right.
So, but a lot of them, what they do is 2 years ago, you slap that thing on the market, you could take, it sells, boom.
Yeah.
So it's interesting. I just had this conversation yesterday with another real estate guy, but today's market is different. Things are still selling, but in these high interest rates environment that we're in, you have to be creative. So let's go back to the kitchen analogy.
Okay.
You get that order, and you're waiting. The steak's on the grill, and you're just waiting. You have the timer, and the steak's just sitting there. But the cook's getting the mashed potatoes ready, the broccoli ready to make it all appetizing.
You're always doing something. If the steak is gonna be there for 5 minutes before you flip it, you better use those 5 minutes to go get the other dish ready.
Exactly. So that's what we do. We put it up on the MLS. We put it up on our off-market platforms.
Right.
InvestorLift.com.
And that's not where we stop. I keep going.
Yeah.
I'm going in there. I call it sniping, but basically what I do, I'm actively looking for actual cash buyers. I'm looking for people that are actively looking for
we're
property.
looking for people sniping.
Yeah.
We're going to find the buyer who bought a very similar property in that area, right?
I go to Zillow and I look at people who purchase properties and clearly have put it back up in the market, who are a fix and flipper. I'm going after them.
Yep.
Yo, what's up, man? Look, this house, 2 houses down from you, beautiful. You want to go take a look at it?
Yeah. Did you have a good time making $50,000 on that flip?
You want to make another more?
There you go.
There you go. Yeah, we're actively going out there and trying to do things. With a real estate agent, it's like you're saying, they're not getting paid to do all that,
Some will, make a listing video, but typically they put it up and they pray. And they're going to get lucky because you got, the MLS is great because you got a bunch of other agents who are trying to sell properties, buyers agents bringing you a deal, but we don't want to rely on luck, right?
Exactly. Yeah, no, we have a skill that only we can provide. And that's why people go with us, because we get it done.
Yep. Yeah.
We get it done.
And so that analogy, you're getting it down the line. And even when you get the buyer,
now the dish is cooked, but now comes quality check.
Yeah. You have to make sure that the buyer has, their funds lined up. They do their inspections, their due diligence. We got to make sure the title's clean. There's a ton that goes in before you basically plate that that dish.
Ramsey pulling up.
Yep.
Yeah.
And finding out if he's gonna call you a fucking donut or not. He's gonna taste it. He's gonna be like, "What is this, man? You're telling me you sent this guy an assignment contract and he hasn't even sent you his proof of funds?
Yeah.
What are you doing?"
Yeah.
Exactly.
Like we gotta make sure all our ducks are in a row. Quality check. Make sure there's a good quality buyer.
Because we have to make sure that transaction closes for that client.
Yeah, we got to make sure the title's clear. We got to make sure the buyer's proof of funds is in. We got to make sure it's a quality buyer. A lot of the times, when the offers come in, we've learned it's not always the highest bidder who we want to go with. We'd rather go with a bidder that's a little less,
secure.
but we know they're secure.
Exactly.
We know they're secure.
Go with the secure buyer. Don't go with the highest bid. Go with the most secure buyer.
Yeah.
Because if you go with the highest buyer and they're not secure, you're burning a bridge with the secure buyer, and you're burning a bridge, or you're damaging the relationship you have with the homeowner, because then it's not going to close. You're going to have to explain that to the homeowner. You're going to have to pray that they're going to want to do an extension.
Right.
Because if not, then they're going to be like, no, that's fine. I don't want to do it. Because now all they got to do is just wait for the date. And if you haven't found a buyer, perfect. They're out of that contract. There's nothing you can do.
Right. And so that's why I'm so excited. Well, I'm not excited, but I'm glad that the market's going to more of a normal market, because in a great market like we've had, a real estate market where it's just on fire, rates are 2.5%, 3%, and everything's moving. It doesn't take much to be a real estate agent, honestly. It doesn't take a lot of skill, and that's why you saw a lot of people making doctor money. During the pandemic, everybody was hopping in to the real estate game. But what it does is a really good market makes average agents or below average agents look just as good as the good agents. It doesn't separate. It's hard to separate.
That's true.
But when you get into a market that it's
Survival
not
of the
super
fittest.
easy, the cream will rise to the top.
Yeah.
And so real estate companies will rise to the top.
Yeah, and I think to those who are just getting into the industry at this time, I think it's if anything an opportunity to gain market share, like we talked about, because there's a lot of people in the industry who bailed out when things started getting, we call it normal. And for those just getting into it, just know that, hey, it's going to take time to gain some momentum, although you're gaining market share, because once things start getting better than normal in terms of when rates eventually drop, etc., you're going to have all this market share. You're going to have clients. You're going to have people looking to you to sell, buy, etc. While other people are jumping in, you're going to be ahead of the curve.
Absolutely.
So just kind of keep that in mind if you're listening and you're just getting started up.
Yeah, you want to stay consistent. We've been talking about consistency.
Mm-hmm.
Good market, bad market.
Mm-hmm.
If you just stay consistent, keep doing, grinding,
Mm-hmm.
you may not make as much money in year 1, year 2.
Mm-hmm.
You may not make as much money in your 5th to 6th year, but that you did as your 1 through 4. But it's eventually, you're gonna build that. You're gonna build that snowball so big, it's just gonna
It's a long game.
It's gonna keep rolling down the hill and just get bigger and bigger. So
Compound effect.
Yeah, it's
There you go.
a what do they call it? Short term, long term. It's a long term game because you're gaining contacts, man. You're assigning properties. This is the big one though. Don't just after you assign something, bye bye. No, keep that communication going, man. He's your buyer. He or she is your buyer. You've already secured it. You've gone through with it. They know who you are. You know who they are. The trust is now there.
Yeah.
Now you can bring another property and you can keep it going. Because if not, then you're going to be in an ever-long struggle of always having to look for somebody brand new and always going through the same steps, always going through like the same, like the issues you go when you barely meet a person for the first time. Like you don't know who this person is yet.
Yeah, and once you have a full pipeline and you have time is of the essence, phone calls are amazing. They're especially with really good clients. Although if you got people who are in your pipeline and you need to hit, I would look into drip campaigns. And there's a drip campaign is an automated way to contact your people, whether that's text or email. And there's so many different softwares and different ways to do that I think would be very useful.
yeah, no, you got to have different touches.
Yeah.
Not everybody can take a phone call. That's the ideal one.
Mhm.
Nice conversation,
Right.
text
Mhm.
message, but maybe a text message. Hey, how you doing? Checking in on you. We do that. We try. That's a pillar in our business.
Yeah, that's something that we started doing now. Like that's something you've always been doing, but now that is something that I've incorporated into my own routine as well. That I
Yeah.
have to keep doing and make sure that I keep track of and I keep doing it because it's a very powerful tool, man. Everything is who you know. Everything is who you know.
Yeah, for sure. And so you have you have your names, and it goes to point to where Bailey said is that drip campaign, but you can't set that drip campaign up if you don't have a
CRM.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
You
CRM.
gotta have that CRM. You gotta he developed that
Yeah,
on Podio.
it's
That's-
beautiful, man. I love that
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah, it's good. We've hired some people too to help out because I think when you have we use Podio, I think you can build it on your own so far, but it gets to a point where it's like I want to hire somebody to get to the point that we're at right now.
And use those
And
hours.
I fought that CRM.
Yeah, and then using those hours
Yeah.
instead of doing that, locking up more deals.
Yeah, our acquisitions time is we make our time is best used locking up deals.
Yep.
I don't want the technical stuff. If you have enough money to hire it out, I'd hire it out.
No, for sure. But we have to figure out. You start figuring out what you need in that CRM.
Yeah.
What makes that CRM so powerful is the stuff you have in it.
Right.
So
For sure.
the best CRM is is what
What's the best here?
What is it called?
a CRM you use.
Money.
You know,
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Bailey
yeah,
would
right,
be
right.
like AD.
We're all trying to think how
right.
hard.
Yeah, me too.
Well, no, because I bought CRMs, spent
Mm.
hundreds of dollars a month. I think Boomtown, it's a nice CRM, but I just didn't like it. Spent $1,000 a month,
Yeah.
and it was empty.
Yeah.
And so if you don't input into the CRM, if you don't use the CRM daily, then it's useless for you.
Oh, dude, that's our works. That's our office right there, Podia. But before, because this one's gonna be a shorter podcast. Before we're approximating the end, I want to finish the analogy, the phases. Okay, so now we found the buyer. Now you've done the quality check. Comes the final phase, which is important that you have a good transaction coordinator and a good title company. That's the final phase, man. If you got everything else, every single part is essential. So if you don't have that good TC, it's not going to go well.
Yeah.
It's going to blow up. If you don't have that good title company, it's going to blow up. You need both.
Yep. Shout out to Brad Rhodes.
Brad Rose,
Big
my
dog.
man.
So Brad's in Phoenix. We're in Yuma, but he's our transaction coordinator. So he keeps it all together.
Love that guy.
That guy has, I have ADD,
He's the GOAT.
and I could never do that job. He keeps this all together, and that transaction coordinator is just at the end, at the beginning. He knows that transaction.
I wake
yeah,
up
no.
every single day knowing I'm going to hear his beautiful voice at 9 a.m.
There you go, Brad. And
Big
so
dog.
yeah, and so he keeps it all together because you got to serve that plate hot.
Yeah, he protects us
Yeah.
too because some, like
Oh, yeah.
there's some things that we don't catch that he catches. Like, I don't know, maybe you guys should look into this. Like, oh, you're right. We should look into that
Yeah.
before we spend time. Or like, we mess with Anthony all the time because Brad protects him. It's like, yeah, we got to keep Anthony out of prison.
Yeah,
Yep.
Koosh, I got an email.
I love it. No, I
Keep
love it,
Anthony
man.
out of jail.
When he goes like, I don't know, man. I'm like, oh, okay, let's hear it. What is
Yeah.
it? What's going
Yeah.
on?
Oh, I don't like that. We're gonna go Wild West on this, but Brad's like, no. We need to check this and check that.
Yeah,
All right.
But he's right.
yeah.
He's probably
Yeah.
saved us
Yeah.
thousands of dollars on the back end of things.
Oh,
Yeah.
most definitely. I call him to make sure. Hey, what am I not supposed to say?
Yeah.
You know?
Right. Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
No,
He'll
man,
keep
he's like
you
an
out of
attorney
trouble.
or something.
He's definitely got a little legal background. So,
Yep.
um,
And now the title company. Why is that so? Well, actually, why is the TC so important?
because the TC is your coordinator between all the parties, so they're like the middle, and everything goes out. You know, he's contacting, he's touching the seller. He's got the internal for, you know, the acquisitions member. He's got the dispo guy, but then he's touching everybody else as well.
Homeowner, buyer, and the title company. He is contacting the homeowner to be like, hey, you want your money on time? Make sure you get these documents turned in.
Right.
Hey, buyer, you want your property on time? Or like, hey, this, according to contract, you need to get this in or whatever. You make sure you get that in, right?
And if something doesn't, if you know, he'll bump you, and if something isn't signed, or it just holds up the whole line.
Right. And the most important thing is with title companies, he pushes them to start because sometimes title companies are like, oh, we got so much time before we even do anything. We got so many weeks before closing. Brad's going to go in there and say, no, I need you to start right now to make sure that we're ready for anything. So in case anything does happen, we're ready for it.
Yeah.
He's pushing the title company to close to make sure everything goes on time.
Right. Yeah, because you need that title. So you need that prelim. That prelim is like super important because something shows up. We just had one, I think, in Somerton where we're getting ready. You know, we're getting ready to do the deal.
It needs to go through probate.
Yeah, we find out it needs to be probated.
And that could be like a whole year.
And Brad's like, hit the brakes. Like, we can't even buy this property.
Yeah.
And so, but then we get good news. Like, sometimes we see things that are on the title, and
Like today in Prescott, we thought there was a cloud on title, which means there was
like a
there
lien.
was pretty much like a lien on it, and we find out that there isn't. It was like, everybody's hooray, you know.
Yeah.
that's- And if not, if we would have waited, if they title company would have waited until like, okay, we're 2 weeks from closing, let's start doing that stuff,
Yeah.
then we wouldn't have known.
Yeah, it's like ordering something. Okay, going back to the kitchen, you're like, yeah, I'll have the roast beef sandwich today,
Yeah.
and then, okay, no problem, I'll get that right up, and then
Roast beef's rotten.
10 later, yeah, a roast.
Exactly,
Chef's
yeah,
like,
yeah,
roast
yeah.
beef's rotten. Sir, we're out of roast beef today.
Yep. And now the title company. So now we know the TC is so important. Now the title company, and we have how many title companies have we gone through? More than
Man.
I can count, man. It's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, we've gone through national title companies. We went with local title companies back to national, several different national title companies.
Yeah. taking recommendations from people on national.
We want to give a
Yeah.
shout out to our local one here,
Yeah, Pioneer
Dude,
Title.
Pioneer Title.
Shout out Anna.
Anna, Diana.
I don't know them. I haven't seen them yet, bro.
They're on it.
Dude,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah.
Our title companies are super important. We started out with that, so it's probably fitting that we kind of back down to that. But we have a great one here in Yuma because they have to have great customer service because they're talking to the buyer and the seller.
Yeah.
If you're in Yuma, Arizona, and you want that title company, you got to go to Pioneer Title by the Staples.
No,
They moved.
Okay, they move. Where?
4th Avenue.
You got to
And,
go to the Pioneer Title by the 4th Avenue.
Yeah,
On 4th Avenue. Yeah. I think it's.
across the street from Papasan.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah.
But why are they so important?
They're so important because they're the ones who, at the very end, they're collecting the money, they're getting the seller signed, the buyer signed, and they're that third party.
They're the referee.
Yeah, they're the referee. They're that third party that's like, hey, no, we're okay. This is the money's here. The seller's okay. They kind of calm everything down, and kind of give they solidify that transaction for everybody.
Yep, and you don't want a bad referee out there, man.
No,
Nope.
referee will ruin the game.
The title company could be the reason why the property doesn't close or something could happen. And, like let's say the homeowner needs those funds and there's some sort of post-occupancy or whatever it is, and then you could put like a holdback on it so they receive some of those funds so they can actually do some part of the move. But now that doesn't happen, so now that gets pushed. So now they can't get their funds. They can't do anything. The buyer might be upset about that, or they might not, but the homeowners they probably set things up, They're like, it's very important I get the U-Haul ready by then, or this, and that. And they might spend money thinking like, you know what, I'm going to be receiving the funds either way by tomorrow or even by 2 days from now. It's okay. But then when it gets pushed a whole week further out,
Problem.
that's a problem, man.
Yeah, we probably need to end it off there, guys, because Anthony's got to go.
Yep.
Yeah,
So
we got to go. We all have appointments.
that's
Yeah.
right.
Go run these appointments and get some more deals.
Let's do it.
So that's it, man. I hope, that's what the conversation was today. Summarize pretty quickly. Make sure you got your entire team and you got all the departments solid and ready to go. Run through your phases, do the quality checks, make sure you have high quality people with you, and make sure you have the right chefs in your kitchen.
Let's go.
And that's pretty much it. We are Next Level Home Buyers. We don't buy properties,
We buy
we buy problems.